morning and welcome to the Yarn Waffle podcast. My name is Liz Ward. I'm a crochet designer living in York in the UK with my two cats. Puka is here. I've moved the camera slightly so we can see her in a window seat today, and Cal is lurking about downstairs somewhere. I'm sure she'll be around at some point. This is my podcast where I talk about what I've been making and creating in the past few weeks. If you are new here, you're very welcome, and if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. It's always lovely to read the comments, so thank you very much for those. So yeah, I'm a little bit overdue with this podcast. Ooh, Puka's on the move. There's been some building work and stuff has been going on. It's been busy. But I'll talk a little bit in the chat section towards the end, because I am surrounded by stuff to talk about. I thought I didn't have much content for the podcast, and then I've just brought everything upstairs and it's just like, yeah, we might be here a while. So I am going to crack right on with finished objects, and I've just realised I haven't got any sock blockers, but thankfully they are. See, I am actually wearing a knitted objects today. I am wearing my Easy One by Hoki Locatelli, which I knit holding a black fingering away and a black mohair together, so it's lovely and fluffy. This is a really nice sweater. I'll try and find the details in which of the episode that I talked about it more and put it on the screen if you'd like to go and have a look at that. And I'm also wearing my Litmus cowl, which is a design by Amy Florence of the Stranded podcast and Stranded Dye Works yarn. Yeah, this is the first Litmus cowl I knit. I have knit a second one, and I may have cast on a third, but we'll talk about that when I get to works in progress, because there's quite a bit of finished objects to get through first. Okay, I don't know whether to start with boring or start with fun. I'm going to start with these. Spoiler warning, it's mainly socks. So I have finished 2 pairs. Should I do these at the same time actually? Because they are pairs. Pair 1. But I will put 2 on, 1 each on the blocker, and then we can talk about them at the same time, because they are knit exactly the same way. So yeah, this is another pair, but I'm going to talk about them at the same time together. So I have finished 2 pairs of socks, vanilla socks knit in opal yarns, and this was leftover yarn from the harvest cardigan I made out of scrappy bits and sock yarn for my mum. I might put a picture of that on the screen. So I had between 40 and 50 grams of some of the sock yarn left. These 2 included. If I can find the details for the opal colour numbers, I'll put those on the screen as well. So I decided just to knit some socks for Mum to go with her cardigan. She has her cardigan now, she loves it. She will get these for her birthday and Mother's Day, which is coming up this month in March. So yeah, vanilla socks, I started them toe up. I don't 100% know which cast on I use. It's a wiggly thing with 2 fingers. Technical. And yeah, so start toe up with some sort of magic cast on, and increase for the toe to 64 stitches, then knit straight up the foot of the socks. I do a short row heel, which is of my own design, and I keep working on it so that the join is getting neater and neater. I'm quite pleased with it at the moment, but I think I did an absolute bodge up on one of these. Yeah, it didn't work quite so well there. And I think on that one it's a bit of a dodgy mess, but hey ho. And then I just worked up the leg of the sock, and because I had limited yarn, I had split these into half. So what I had left from knitting that cardigan, I split the balls into equal halves, and then I could just knit. I could have made longer socks if I put in contrast heels and toes, but I just kind of enjoy the fact that these are all the same yarn, and I think with opal yarn that's really nice because you get to sort of see how it was designed to look. So yeah, these are just really fun, colourful socks, and I've got 2 finished pairs as presents for Mum, and I think she'll really like them. especially as we're getting into slightly warmer weather. It's not massively warmer, but it is slightly. But yeah, so 2 pairs of socks for Mum finished, and 2 pairs of socks for me finished as well. Next pair of socks that I finished are my March socks for the Rainbow Sock Chronicles. The Rainbow Sock Chronicles is a knit-along hosted by So Sweet Violet and Lay Family Yarn. And it's designed so you will knit a pair of socks every month of the year, 1 in each colour, and at the end of the month you'll have 12 pairs of socks in a beautiful rainbow of colour. Now, February was dark pink or red, and I chose to go red, and I dyed this yarn myself. I'm actually really chuffed with the dye job, and I'm really pleased with the pattern. This was a gifted pattern, and I keep calling it Coastal Ridge, but I'm fairly sure that's not the right name, but I will put all the details on the screen. Yes. The other thing that I've decided to do with these patterns is to, one, pick sock patterns that are already in my Ravelry library that I've purchased and not knit before, and go for slightly more complicated ones, because I do want the knitting of these to last the month, you know. And I found that by knitting a slightly more complicated, more involved pattern, that, you know, it is taking me about the month to knit them. I'm just sort of picking them up every now and then. I've got time to actually concentrate and work on them. So yeah, as you can see, these are quite an involved pattern. I'm just going to show you one because it just makes it that much easier to hold them rather than me trying to juggle. Yeah, so this is slightly more of an involved pattern. It does have cable stitches running down here, and then slip stitches along the back. So this whole pattern is kind of what you would normally do just for a heel flap, but you're doing it along the back, so you get this sort of seamless look to it, which I just think is genius. And also it cinches it in. So I have tried these on, and these are so far one of the best fitting pairs of socks I've ever made, and I'm just, yes, thank you. Yeah, but the pattern along the front is this lovely lace design, which looks more complex than it actually is. It's really quite easy once you get your head around it. I can't remember how many rows the pattern is. If I remember, I'll put in. But yeah, really you're just shifting over your yarn overs and decreases to create this lovely, lovely pattern. I absolutely love it. I'm going to take one off. Then I can show you the front, so you can see just how beautiful. It really is beautiful. And yeah, the back is this slip stitch with cables down the side, and it really does cinch it in. So honestly, one of the best fitting patterns. I'm really, really pleased with these. I was slightly disappointed with the socks I knit for January, and I think I am going to knit another pair for January, because they're not going to fit my feet, are those ones. So they may end up, well, they are going to go to Mum. I don't know why I'm saying they may end up going to Mum. I've already caked up some other yarn. I'm going to re-knit January's socks, but February's socks are here, and they are very exciting. See? They are my, insert proper name, but I'm going to call them Coastal Ridge socks. It's Coast something. I've just got the wrong name stuck in my head now, and that's never a good idea. Okay, last socks. Technically, last knitted socks, shall we say. I know, exciting. There's crochet content today. These are not going to fit on the sock blockers. They're too tall for them. I don't have my longer ones to hand. I couldn't find them. They also feel quite long in the foot. Liz, if you don't shut up when you're putting things on sock blockers, you can't cut it out. So my last finished knitted object are my Winter Solstice socks. And these are sort of Winter Solstice triple, because the yarn is Winter Solstice. This is yarn by the Yarn Badger. The pattern is Winter Solstice. It is by Kay Jones of the Bakery Bears, and I cast these on the Winter Solstice, so it couldn't be much more of a triple. The contrast colour is from my Advent from Ducky Darlings. I can't remember the name, but I think it goes really, really well. They are looking a bit slouchy and scrunched up on these sock blockers, but best of a bad job at the moment, I'm afraid. Yeah, I could not resist. This is a self-striping yarn. That's what Lizard the Yarn Badger is specialised in. It's so beautiful. And yeah, this pattern, these have not been blocked as well. It probably would help with a block, but I'm slightly worried as they're quite big on these blockers that they're going to be big on my feet. But these will be going in my box of Christmas socks. I am doing a box of 24 Christmas socks. Shamelessly stolen idea from Amy of Stranded Dye Walks, but it's a good idea. I'm going to steal it. Yeah, so this is a very simple lace pattern of sort of yarn overs and decreases, and it gives you like tracks. Take one off and then I can show you better. Hang on, let's do it this way. So yeah, we've got 1x1 knitted rib at the top, which always looks nice when it's done, but I don't particularly enjoy knitting it. And then down the foot you've got these slightly more complex stitches. Oh, these ones are the slightly more complex ones, and these ones are just a yarn over and sort of knit two together type ones. And together they form these lovely like sort of tracks down the sock. Sorry about my phone beeping. Yeah, they form these lovely little tracks down the socks, and then on the foot you're only doing it on the top and you get all the lovely stripes on the bottom. So yeah, I am really pleased with these. They were finished because they've been on the needles a while and I hadn't really been working on them because I've been working on other things. But I picked them up because I'd packed everything for the podcast because I was going to film it on Thursday last week, but then everything was just noisy and so it didn't happen. So rather than unpack everything, I picked up an old whip, and it was these, and I managed to actually finish them over the weekend. So yeah, really pleased, and we've got an extra finished object today. I don't normally bring my phone up when I do a podcast because it might buzz, and then I always forget to film the little intro bit and the finished object photos because my phone's not up here. So I pack everything away at the end of the podcast because it's done and it's brilliant, and then I'm like, oh, I haven't done that, and I have to get everything out again. So I was like, I'll bring my phone up this time, and now it's just buzzing all the way through it. Such is life. Oh, it's Richard. And I've got a plant app. I've got an app for watering plants because I've gone a bit houseplant crazy. Has everyone else gone houseplant crazy in lockdown? So I got an app that tells me when they all need watering, and now it just makes me feel guilty every day. I'm going to turn it on. I don't need apps making me feel guilty. That I do not need. Okay, there's also some Haribo in here. So a little reward. These came from Siobhan's Crafts with some of her minis, so I wasn't allowed to eat them until I showed them on the podcast. Okay, why is there so much fluff in this box? Everything's going swimmingly. Cap on. I'm back, and I've tempted a puka with a pipe cleaner, so she's come back. Now she's going to destroy the sofa. Yeah, I have my crochet rainbow slippers to show you. I finished these a while ago, but I haven't actually shown them on the podcast. So a new tutorial series starting on this channel. I'm hoping to put one up every month, and I'm hoping that there will be a free, like a thing that you can completely make with that tutorial rather than it just showing a technique or something like that. I'm going to try and keep techniques to the studio vlogs, but I'm not 100% sure. We're just gonna, there's only one so far, and we're just gonna see how it goes. Things evolve, and I'm happy for that to happen. But yeah, rambling, waffling, as is the name of the podcast. These are my rainbow crochet socks. Let me take one off so I can show you it properly. Yeah, these are So simple. The tutorial I've done, we're using American terminology for crochet because that is the most universal. Even though I'm a UK designer and I'm used to using the UK terms as well, the American is the most widely used, so that is what I've used in the tutorial. So yeah, so this is pretty much just crocheted in single crochet. And you start at the toe and you finish at the top. You make a break for the heel and then you pick that heel up later. So it's very similar to how we would knit like an afterthought heel sock, and that's pretty much where I got the inspiration for this style from, because this is pretty much how I've been knitting a lot of socks recently. Also, I love these decreases on the heel for the sock, how there's this lovely line of decreases, and it just makes this great heel. I used a DK weight acrylic yarn, I think it was like a Stylecraft Life maybe, and I held it double, but the way I've designed this pattern, you could use any yarn. You could use the finest fingering weight yarn, whatever you want, as long as you're using a hook that corresponds to that, because it's all done on like measurements, so you're going to increase to the toe until you get to a certain measurement, and then you're going to do the foot to a certain measurement, and then same with the leg. So actual stitch counting, there's no stitch counting. Yeah, that doesn't matter. The heel will work on all different gauges as well. It's just a standard sort of decreasing for a heel, which will work in all different sizes. So you can make these for kids, you can make them for grandparents. These are going for my mum, she is a grandma. Yeah, so yeah, you can make them stripy, not stripy, you can make them scrappy. Oh, they'd be great scrappy socks, great mild socks. I have the original ones that I still haven't finished, I'll show you those in whips, that I held 2 strands of DK weight yarn and mohair together to make them like really fluffy bedroom socks. The possibilities are endless, but the tutorial is up, it is on this channel and it is completely free, and yeah, all the instructions you need to make them are there, and I'm just really pleased with it. I really enjoyed the process of filming the tutorial. I'm really looking forward to doing the next one. I'm not 100% sure what I'm making for it. I think it might be the knitted, hello darling, I think the next tutorial, cat in a box, is going to be for the fade socks that I made with the Lizwardcrafts minis. If you've been watching this channel for a while, you might remember them. I've made a couple of pairs already, I just haven't put the heels in, so I need to film putting in afterthought heels, and then I'm going to film the process of how to do the fade on them, and then I will release a free pattern at the same time as the tutorials for those techniques that are used in that pattern come out. Are you listening, Puka? It's very, very important. We love you, baby. We love you, darling. Poof. I'm gonna get got. Okay, well, before I get attacked, I'm going to throw some slippers on Puka. Ooh. Can you not? Oh, you can see him. I have one more finished object to show you, and it's not knitting or crochet. It is actually a cross stitch. This is a cross stitch that I've been doing, oh gosh, for 3 or 4 months. It is by Velvet Pony Designs. She has an Etsy shop and she has lots of these geometric patterns, and this is a raven. It's only little. It probably wouldn't take long if you did a lot of cross stitch. I don't do a lot of cross stitch, but I kept picking this up every now and then. Sorry if the camera's wobbling a bit, Puka's just wandering around right now. It is meant to sit this sort of unevenly in the frame. Yeah, if I had any criticism about it, the dimensions that she gives for the Ada fit the piece perfectly, but the way she displays them is in a hoop frame, and the dimensions she's given you for Ada are not big enough to then put it in a hoop afterwards. And I kind of, if it was me, I just would have said, if you want to display this in a hoop, please make sure your Ada is such and such a size, because I cut it to the size she said, and so it can only go in a rectangular frame. Now, I kind of wish I'd gone for a round frame. I think that would have been cute. But it's going to go on the wall, probably somewhere here, and I have started another one by the same, yeah, the same designer, and it's a hummingbird, but it's the same sort of geometric ones. But yeah, I sometimes just like to have a bit of cross stitch to do when I don't want to read or crochet or knit or do a jigsaw. It's nice having a bit of cross stitch to do, and I really did enjoy doing this. Just for the sake of honesty, this bit here, this light blue bit here, it's the wrong colour. I'm not going to change it. It should have been a slightly darker blue. If that worries the perfectionists out there, I'm sorry. I am not a perfectionist. If anything, I like there to be something that makes it mine, especially with cross stitch. Because cross stitch, you're pretty much just replicating something. But yeah, I know I made this now because it's a slightly different colour on that wing. So yeah, it's a little raven. I love ravens, they're one of my favourite birds. And I think actually it might just tuck in there for a minute. Not very well. Nope. Oh, hello cow. Hang on, we're getting a visit from Cal. You coming up, darling? Puka, leave her alone. We've had cat drama this week. Puka, I'm sorry if there's grumbling. Puka went to the vets for her to be spayed. Don't know why you needed this, but yeah. Got neutered, which is, you know, all cats, all domestic cats, if you don't want them to have kittens, that's what you do. I'm not explaining things well today. To be honest, I'm just marvelling at the fact that I haven't got builders staring at me, so the rain obviously is stopping them working. I'm very happy about that. Yeah, so Puka went to be spayed a week ago. You would not know there's anything wrong with her. She's absolutely fine. The mild problem we had is that when she came back, even though Cal had missed her dreadfully when she was away, even though she was only gone for half a day, is that she smelled of the vets, and cats rely so much on smell that the fact that she came back smelling different, Cal got a bit scared and started growling at her and stuff like that. And then Cal hid for a day, and then slowly they've been realising they do actually like each other. We are only a week in to cats becoming friends again, and yeah, they sort of go together, sniff, and then Cal's not sure, so she grumbles and runs away. But to be fair, I think we had quite a bit of that before anyway. But yeah, Puka's absolutely fine. So if you have sort of noticed the fact that she's got a bald patch, a hilarious bald patch. Okay, right, so that is finished objects. Finished objects. I'm going to move that basket up there, cue that falling down when a cat tries to get in it, and I'm going to bring in this one, which is my works in progress. Works in process. Oh dear. So how many have we got in here? I hope you've got a cup of tea. Right, get rid of those so they don't clang. I hope you've got a cup of tea, or you know, got your knitting or your crochet with you. Actually, there's only 4 in here. That's not too bad. There's only 4. I'm not saying there isn't more than 4 projects in the bags, but there's only 4 bags. But yeah, if you've got your tea or a glass of wine, or settle in, we'll be here a while. We're just chasing each other up and downstairs now. Okay, So if I can get this out without losing it off the needles, that will be a good start. See, the reason I wore my litmus cowl today is because I have cast on another one. I have been dying to cast this on for a while. Well, since Christmas, to be fair, because that's when I got these minis. And I finally treated myself to the cast on. It's looking a bit crumpled because it's been in this bag. Now, there is a theme. This is a spacey bag. I can't remember who the dyer was. The bag maker was. Have I got a thingy? No, I got it from Etsy. She makes some lovely bags. Quality of this one is absolutely amazing. I just love it. Yeah, I will put her details on the screen. But yeah, I did get this bag with this project in mind. I know, I'm that bonkers. But yeah, this, I have not quite got through a repeat of all the colours yet. But this is knit from Cascade Heritage, is the dark colour. It is not black, it is a very, very dark blue. It's almost black, might as well just call it black. But no, it is a very dark navy. And the minis that I'm using for this are the 12 Days of Christmas set that I got from Siobhan's Craft. So it was meant to be like the 12 days after Christmas. I knit it the 12 days, not knit it, I opened it the 12 days before Christmas. So the 12 days before I had the 2 advent calendars, because I had the Ducky Darlings ones and I had this. So running up to Christmas I had 2. And this was a solar system set. So we have all the planets, and she's dyed the yarn to look like the planets. So this is where I forget my planets, even though they're right in front of me. Yeah, so we have Mercury, which you can barely see. Yeah, so Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and I have just started on Pluto, and we will not have discussions about Pluto being included or not included. I am happy it was included in this set. I understand the reasons it is no longer classed as a major planet. Let's not go further than that, because people have feelings about this, and this is not the place to discuss them. But yeah, I'm just heading off into Pluto. And then there were 3 other yarns which I don't actually have here, because I wasn't 100% sure whether I was going to put them in, but I think I might. So she also included a yarn for Betelgeuse, which is one of the brightest stars in the sky, the Milky Way. And what was the other one? I think the other one was just called something like Galaxy. It was really, really pretty. So I have used the other 3 in my mitered square blanket, but I haven't used any of these. So I've got the full 10 grams of these, and probably only 5 grams left of the other ones. So I'm undecided as to whether I'll put the other ones in. I might do, just to see how long I can get this. But I think it's very recognisable as the planets, and that just, oh, I just love it. I mean, I'm a big fan of litmus cowls anyway, because I think they make any yarn look great. But yeah, the fact that this is the planets, I'm just like, it's so exciting. So yeah, that is all it is. I haven't really talked about the pattern. It's just a big sock, it's a tube, and you're just knitting it round and round. I'm using a 16-inch circular, and what needles am I using? 3.5mm. I'm using a higher fixed circular. And yeah, you just go round and round. When I hit a colour change, I am slipping the first stitch of the colour change so I don't get a jog. Although, to be fair, there's a little bit of a... Like, sometimes I just forget to slip the stitch. Again, I'm not a perfectionist. Yeah. Be happy in your imperfection, that's what I say. I've stopped I've stopped words now apparently. Yeah, I'm just so happy with this project, and it's not even one that I'm in a rush to finish because I'm just enjoying knitting it. It's a joy to knit. It's just, yeah. So the little 10-gram minis, this is Pluto. These just make me happy because they look like little planets when I get them out. Look. That one is Jupiter. Just absolute joy. Complete and utter knitting joy. My planets. Litmus cowl. Forgive me, I'm a mad knitter. Okay, so in this is an old bag that I made myself. It is much loved. And I have no, not a half-finished object. I'm still not going to say that. So yeah, I have finished a glove. I showed these on the last podcast, and I have finished one of them. This is knit in Karma Rose. Is that how we're saying this? And that is the type of yarn. I'm really stretching. This is a single ply, fingering weight would be 4 ply in the UK. It's a fine one, it's very fine. It's quite fluffy. It's Peruvian, it's llama and Peruvian virgin wool, 50-50. It's so soft, like so soft, puka soft. Yeah. The glove recipe that I use is of my own devising. I will at some point make a pattern for it. I have no idea when that will be. I'm still tweaking it. I'm very slow when it comes to releasing knitting patterns. That's creepy, I apologise for that. Yeah, so anyway, I have finished a glove. Can you see how fluffy it is? Yeah, I am not happy that it's as baggy as this in the hand. I would have liked it to be tighter, but the fingers are perfect. Fingers fit perfectly. And the thumb is a little bit, or not. Also, I would have liked the ribbing to stop further down. Like there. Like, I feel like I need to be hugged around the wrist here. And it's just a bit up there. So it's not perfect, but I'm just going to knit the other one the same, and then I'm just going to cast on another pair and fiddle about with it in that. Because otherwise then you've got one glove that doesn't go with another glove and whatnot. So yeah, I have cast on the other one. I stopped knitting on these because I did have a feeling I would whiz through them, and I wanted to show them as a work in progress. Sorry, I've just got another random... Oh yeah, you need 2 circulars when you are doing the fingers. That's why there's 2 circulars in here. Yeah, gloves are a lot of fun to knit. Pretty much, gloves are a lot of fun to knit. I think a lot of people get put off by doing the fingers, but they're really not that fiddly, and they just go so fast. And once you've done a cuff, which you would start off any sock the same way, you're then just doing increases for the thumb, and you're not even like knitting the length of a sock. You can get gloves done so fast. And yeah, I did actually knit these with this litmus cowl in mind, so that they would go with. Not perfectly, but you know, the intention was there, and I won't be like wearing them like this. Yeah, so love the yarn, really enjoying this knit. I did sort of stop myself knitting on it because I didn't want to fly through them too quickly. But yeah, there's just enough cold weather left, I think, that gloves will be useful. And also, I will show you more about this when I do the next studio vlog, which I think I'm going to film later this week. I have been sort of rearranging my living room downstairs. This is all chatter stuff. I was going to leave this to the end. It's not at the end now, it's just scattered in. yeah, I've rearranged my living room downstairs. So I got a new desk and I got a new cupboard that all my whips live in. So instead of them being, well, they are still in a basket, but they're now in a cupboard in a basket. It's all tidy. It's lovely, very tidy. And the final thing that I got is a coat rack. I live in a Victorian terrace, which is next to a school. It's primary school still. But this house would have been one of the teachers' houses. So one of the things I've always wanted is like an old-fashioned coat rack, you know, hooks on the top, benches at the bottom, so you can put your school bag in you. Like it was still that sort of schoolhouse feel. And I found one and I was just like, it wasn't ridiculously expensive, it was a good price. Yeah, and I've put it up and oh, it just makes me so happy. It's just like, there's a place for shoes, there's a bench for handbags, and on it I've got a basket and all my knit hats have gone in the basket. It shouldn't make me as happy as it does. Oh my god, it makes me happy. Because even though I thought I had a lot of knit hats, that basket isn't full. I can knit more. I can knit lots more. And I think you'll all agree on this, I definitely need a basket for mitts and gloves as well on there. And then on the top, I've got my coat. I don't have many coats, I'm just one human. But I can hang on my shawls too. So, one, I can knit more mitts and more gloves. I can knit more hats. And I can knit more shawls. I was starting to think I probably had enough. No way. Now I've got this coat rack. I can knit more. Just little things make important. Yeah. Right. Anyway, I'm blathering on. I'm going to show you my sweater project next because, again, it's another one I'm just so happy with. She's a beast. She's a beast. Okay, so first off I'll show you the yarn. This is knit in Drops Nord, which is a finger and weight 4-ply yarn, and it is 30% polyamide and 25% wool and 45% alpaca. Would help if I read the most important one first. And the other thing that I'm using for this is a Zalba ball. And do I have any? I can't reach. This is a Zalba ball. I'm sure you're all aware with them. They are a very popular sock yarn. So they are fractally spun commercial sock yarn. You get a gradient that looks like that. And they come in so many colours and they're really nice sock yarn. Don't jump up there. Okay, Puka's gonna now jump up there because I just got that sock yarn from up there. So if something falls on my head, enjoy. Yeah, so you get 100 grams in a standard Zalba ball, and I wasn't 100% sure that this sweater would work with just the 100 grams, but it is. So I didn't have to buy a second ball. Okay, enough rambling about the yarn. Let me show you. You right, Pooks? Don't jump up there. Why is there? Okay, this is going to be black on black, so it might not work. So this is my Junction Sweater by Andrea Mowry, and this is my latest brioche project. So the yoke of this is brioche, and it is knit with the Zalba ball, and then you are doing colour work, very, very simple colour work, all the way down the body of this sweater, where, can you see? Yeah, you're just doing one stitch every now and then. It's more technical than that. It's not just like randomly you do one stitch. There is a colour work chart that you follow. I think it's called flea stitch. It's a very traditional stitch. But yeah, so you're just doing... Oh no, 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 no. Puka jumped up, through my warping board, currently holding on to my warping board, I don't know how I'm going to stand up and it not fall on me. Oh. As expected, she jumped up here. There is 2 more shelves above this, and then she jumped right on the top. I managed to knock my walking board over, which is full of yarn that hasn't been tied off. Still hasn't been tied off. Oh, the stress. She's going to try and go back up there, I know she is. She gets fixated with things. Anywho, Junction Sweater by Andrea Mowry. This is a really enjoyable knit. I found the brioche section really easy. I didn't follow the pattern because she has you use the contrast colour, so the Zauber ball, which I use, as the background colour. So you would only see a little bit of this colour because mainly the sort of posts, what are we going to call, like the front knit stitches would be in the black and you would only get a bit of the colour shown behind. So I changed that round so that the contrast colour is the main colour on the brioche, which I was quite pleased that I actually figured out how to do. But yeah, this pattern originally uses Spin Cycle, which is a mill spun, hand spun type yarn. It's quite expensive. So the fact that I am going to be able to get a similar look using a Zauber ball, which is about sort of £12–13 in the UK, certainly a lot cheaper than the Spin Cycle, and it gives you a similar look. So I'm really chuffed with the fact that it's going to work and I'm going to get the full sweater. And I went for a big size. I think I went for the 50-inch chest. And I think I might have made it slightly too big in that respect, because I know that's pretty much the size I make for Richard's sweaters. And I may have had that in my head when I cast this on, so this may end up being a bit too big on me. Bit. But yeah, anyway, I have finished the body. It's should hit me about just under my natural waist. I haven't made it cropped. I think the pattern is cropped, but I've made it a bit longer than it said. And I'm onto the first sleeve, and I'm just working the decreases slowly down the sleeve. It is a bit tricky working this colour work and your decreases. There is some instruction given in the pattern how to do that. However, as soon as you do a decrease, it changes where you are in that colour work pattern, because obviously you've lost 2 stitches. And unless I haven't read it properly, and it could well be in the pattern, I am terrible at not reading sentences in full and in the correct order. I'm one of those people who reads until I get the gist and then I go my own way. Yeah. So it could be in the pattern that she tells you about that. However, the first couple of times I did decreases, I was like, oh, I'm not where I expected to be, and had to sort of fudge it slightly and tink back a few times. There are indeed a couple of rows where the stitches line up, and they shouldn't. They should be sort of in and a one there, and then one there, and one there, and then one there. So yeah, there was a couple of rows like that. I think there's one on the body as well where I just obviously wasn't paying attention. And it's a bit covered in fluff and stuff, but it's a black jumper, it's always going to do that. But I just know that this is going to get so much wear. It's really cosy. It's a lovely warm knit with it having that colour work and being 4-ply. It's got the drape. So yeah, I just think this is going to be such a wearable knit. I'm really looking forward to finishing it and actually getting to wear it. So hopefully next time I do a podcast I can wear this. Hopefully. Or it'll get shoved in a bag and I don't work on it for another month. That is another option. But an unlikely one, because now I've actually shown it on the podcast, I can bring it back out of the basket and keep working on it. But yeah, I think I've only got But yeah, for a sweater project it actually ended up being really quite economical sort of wool-wise, because like this Nord is only like a couple of pounds a ball. I think I've used six or seven, and then the Zauber ball will have been about £12 or £13. So I reckon the whole jumper, when it's knit, will have been under £30 of yarn, and it's wool, and it's going to be beautiful. And sorry if you can hear kids in the background, that's the school playground. I don't know how much the camera can pick up. Yeah. So yeah, I'm really enjoying that project, but definitely need to think about some more brioche projects to cast on, because I've passed that brioche section and I really do want to keep some brioche on the needles. There were some lovely suggestions in the comments on the last episode about some hats. I have put those into my Ravelry favourites. And yeah, I'm definitely going to be casting on another brioche hat before too long. But I do have a few cast-ons on the needles already. So not going to stop me. Okay, in here, this are my current sock whips. I don't actually have that many sock whips at the moment. There's only 2 on the go. I'll get them both out. Ooh, a little bit of yarn. So, with the opal socks that I finished at the beginning, this was another yarn that was used in that harvest sweater that I knit for Mum. And this was the leftovers, but I actually had 2 balls of this because this is Drops Fable and they come in 50-gram balls, and I had bought 2 for socks, but I put some of it into that cardigan just because I liked the dark yarn, and I thought it'd be quite fun. So what was left over of the first ball I knit this sock with. I'm not going to put it on a block because it's a bit too long for it. These are longer socks. They're not very long. They're probably going to hit mid-calf. I don't know why I'm pointing to my calf because you can't see where my hand is gone. I'm not putting my leg in the air. It'll never get down again. But yeah, so I could give you a measurement. I haven't woven in the end, but yeah, so this Drops colourway is 901. And it's fairly pretty, I think. I haven't put a contrast in, but I have done it exactly the same way as I did those first socks, except it's got 60 stitches because this is for me and I like my socks to be quite snug. Also, I do wear longer socks more than I wear shorter socks, so I'm going to try and knit more longer socks for myself. So yeah, I have cast on the second one. I am nearly at the heel turn. Just got about another 3 or 4 centimetres to go, and this is the second ball. So this used all that was left of the first ball, and there will be a bit left over of this one when I've knit matching socks, but I can put that into my scrappy blanket or magic knot balls or something like that. I'm having a bit of a sort of want to not have leftovers bit at the moment. Like, I don't mind if I can put a little bit in my square a day blanket, my scrappy blanket and stuff like that. But if a project uses all the yarn, I'm really enjoying that at the moment. That's good. I like that. Yeah. Okay, so finally for knitting whips. No, sorry. No, there's another one. There's this basket as well. I'll show you that in a minute. But for sock whips, this is March's Rainbow Chronicle sock. Let me see if I can get that. I could probably zoom in with the camera rather than actually trying to hold it closer for you. This yarn is a Fibre Space Vivacious in the Pina Colada colourway. It's oranges and peaches. It's lovely. It's a high twist yarn, so it's great for socks. And I am knitting this on 2mm needles. I knit the, excuse me, I did knit the Coastal Ridge socks, I know that's not the right name, on 2mm as well. Again, I'm just trying to get socks to fit me, so I'm coming down on sizes, I'm coming down on stitches, just to get them really nice and snug. This pattern is the On the Hill pattern by Kay Linton, who is the Crazy Sock Lady, and it is a pattern. The name of the pattern is something to do with Rhinebeck, the New York Sheep and Wool Festival. I think there's like a hill there. I've never been to America. I'd love to go. But yeah, there is like a hill where they have like podcaster meetups and stuff like that. And so yeah, this pattern is called On the Hill, and that is the hill in question. It is twisted stitches and cables, and it's just lovely. Really enjoying this as a knit. It is not complicated. It does require me to sort of think slightly, but there is no patterning on the back, so you can see how beautiful the yarn is on the back. And yeah, these are my March socks for the Rainbow Chronicles, as I said. No, oh, the basket's got down there. I'm not going to show you my February ones again. At the end of the year, we will have this beautiful rainbow of all these beautiful pattern socks that hopefully will fit me perfectly. But yeah, I'm really enjoying the fabric that I'm getting with this. It feels nice and dense. If I open it up like that, you get another look at those twisted stitches and the cables. I love doing cables. I really want more cabley projects. I'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah, it's just a really enjoyable, simple cable pattern that is just making this yarn look really lovely, and I feel like I'm just really enjoying all my projects at the moment, and that's a wonderful feeling. Nothing feels like a chore or like I have to be doing it or anything like that, apart from my crochet work that I can't show you. But even then, that's not a chore, it's just hard. It's really difficult. One day, when I'm actually able to talk about what I'm working on with my crochet work at the moment, I'll be able to, you'll understand why it's difficult. Because it's so difficult. These are recognisable things that I'm making, and I have to make them look like the things that everybody recognises. Yeah. Anyway, I'll talk about that. No guesses, nothing in the comments. I'll get in trouble with editors. You'll find out one day, hopefully. Okay, so that is everything from that basket. Oh, I didn't show you my bag. I love this bag. This is my Floof Hunter bag. It's by Yarn Story. This is my Kitchener reminder, which is also from Yarn Story. I am really glad I got this. However, I did memorise it about the third time after using this, but I wouldn't have memorised it if I hadn't have got it. I would still be looking it up. So, those are all in there, and that's coming out of the way. Okay, I'll show you what's in this lovely blanket. Show you what's in this lovely basket. So yeah, as I was saying, I had a bit of a sort out of the living room, and I sorted out my cabinet down there that's got all sort of commercial wool in, so it's got all my sort of plain colours of DK and Aran and 4-ply and bits like that. And I had an awful lot of DK, and I had in my head that the next blanket I cast on after my Mitre Square blanket will be a DK blanket, because as much as I love scrappy blankets and whatnot, a 4-ply weight blanket only has so much warmth it can give, especially in crochet. I am crocheting one at the moment, but it's completely stalled because, yeah, this thing in my head of like, it's a 4-ply blanket, it's going to have loads of holes in it, it's not going to be the warmest thing. And I really like cosy blankets, and even if it's just a decorative blanket. Anyway, rambling, waffling, as usual. So yeah, DK blankets, I think, or at least holding 4-ply with another 4-ply, may be the way going forward with some blankets. But yeah, I decided to cast on a DK weight blanket. And I chose a pattern by Tin Can Knits. It is the Polygon pattern. And you make these, what technically look like little starfish. They're absolutely adorable, but actually they are little hexagons, so 6-sided polygons. They are garter with stocking stitch decreases, so they have a lovely shape to them. They are knit outside in. So you cast on the largest amount of stitches and then you decrease into the centre. I wasn't 100% sure when I started this blanket if it was going to work for me as a project, because I'm not a big fan of casting on. Now, I'm an old-fashioned English knitter, and the way I've learnt to cast on, don't know if I can show you because I haven't actually got any long knitting needles with me, is the whole sticking the needle under your arm and then hooking the yarn over your thumb and then coming round it that way. So you need this needle to be still because you're moving both your arms like this. It's just the way I learnt to cast on. It's a long tail cast on, but it's done in a very old-fashioned way. And so when I'm casting on that way for, like if I'm casting on a pair of cuff down socks, I will cast on a long needle, a long fine needle, and then I will knit off onto a circular. And that's just the way I've always cast on for anything. It's why I've started really enjoying doing toe-up socks, because I can cast on in a quicker way at the toe, and then rather than having to find a 2.25 long needle and cast on that way. So I wasn't 100% sure whether a project that required making lots of squares and casting every single one on, and there's 100+ stitches to cast on every time, excuse me while I deal with the sun, yeah, I wasn't 100% sure whether it was going to work for me as a project, but I decided to start just knitting one a day and seeing how I got on. Now, I didn't get on very well at first. I kept twisting them. I tried casting them on this, the 16-inch circular, and I tried casting them on magic loop. And again, I was casting on a long straight needle and then knitting them off onto these, and I just kept twisting them. To be honest, I thought this project was doomed. I just didn't think it was going to get off the ground, because as much as I really liked the idea, casting them, oh sorry if that's clanging loud, casting them on just wasn't working. But there are lots of different ways to cast on, and I figured there must be an easier way without me having to get out a long needle. And if I could learn a way, I learn by repetition, so by doing a blanket and casting on so many polygons, that way of casting on would then get stuck in my head. I would find it easier over time, and it would make other things easier, rather than being able to cast on onto circulars rather than having to have a straight needle. So I went onto YouTube and I found a long tail cast on that I don't know if I can find the video. I'll put a link for it, but really all you're doing is holding both yarns in your left hand and then picking up with this stitch. I'm sure a lot of people cast on this way, and I'm just like, yeah, you all know what I'm talking about. I'm fairly sure most people don't use the under the arm method. It's so yeah, I learned to cast on that way, and actually it's really easy. I'm so stuck in my ways with some of my knitting things because I've been doing it for so long, and then you learn a new technique and you're just like, oh god, this is really easy. Why haven't I been doing this for years? Because I think we assume learning things is going to be harder. So it's like, well, I know how to do it this way, why should I learn something new? But then you learn something new and it's so much easier. You're just like, I've been an idiot for years. Anyway. So I have found an easier way to cast on. I've got past the twisting them and Mobiusing them, and I'm starting to actually really enjoy making these little polygons. And I've been doing this project for about a week. I think I get about 4. The yarn I'm using is Drops Lima. I have quite a lot of drops in my stash. It's usually a blend of real wool. It's really nice and it is in my budget. So I get it from Wool Warehouse. Whenever they have a sale on, I tend to stock up. So yeah, so there's a lot of Drops Lima in my stash. So I thought it's a good way to knit through it. And yeah, you get 4 of these polygons from 50 grams. And the needles I'm using are 4mm. That's what the pattern says. And so I will show you all the little polygons I have made. hang on, some of them have got really long tails because she says to have a really long tail for sewing them together. I'm not looking forward to sewing them together. So there's those two colours. We've got cream and grey number 1. We have grey number 2, 4 of those. We have the accent colours, which is this beautiful petrol blue, 4 of those. I have 2 yellow. Stack is growing. And 3 of a very pale grey. So yes, that is my stack of polygons in a week. I was meant to just be doing 1 a day, and I got a bit addicted. Oh, they smell nice. So sheepy. Just don't mind me, I'll just be here a minute. Puka, do you want to smell that? It's really nice. Anyway, so yeah, there's a little bit left over from the 50 grams, but there are some half hexagons to make, so I'm hoping I'll be able to make those out of that. And they sit in this basket with the colours around the side, and then all my polygons in the middle. Isn't that pleasing? And then my one on top that I'm working on. And this has sort of become my pick up and put down project, because they don't take long to make. I do the first, sorry about the clanging, I cast on a 16 circular, and because you're decreasing, obviously it will get to the point where you can't work on here. And I've got a bit of a routine with them now, that when I get to, I think it's 10 stitches between the stitch markers of all the sections. So it is a paid for pattern, so I'm not going to go into it too much. When I get to 10 stitches between each section, I take it onto the longer needle for magic loop. I could knit it all on that, but it's kind of nice just to knit a bit on 16-inch circular and not have to faff about for a while. So yeah, and the plan is that it is going to be mainly the greys, and just with the accent colours, and the accent colours are this blue, this yellow, and this petrol-y blue colour, sort of dotted about in this sort of hexagon sea. So it's going to be completely random. I am hoping to get some of these sewn together at some point. I would like to get at least 1 ball of every colour knit before I start putting them together. It's going to be a long-term project. Probably not as long-term as I would like, because I seem to be knitting them quite fast. Yeah, I just think this is sort of the colours of my living room. Well, it would be if this was forest green rather than the petrol blue, but they don't do a forest green in this yarn. And I would have liked it if this was like a duck egg rather than this sort of slate blue. But yeah, nice living room blanket. But yeah, that is a new blanket cast on. And I'm very, very happy about it. Sorry, you're just getting a tiny bit of puka there. It's not, if I move that, do you get more of her? You just get blowed out puka in the window in the corner. Lovely pooks, thank you very much. Okay, so we're nearly there. I think this might be a pretty long one. There is a bit of crochet to talk about, but I am just going to be fairly quick with it. I'm not going to talk about that because that hasn't got far enough to show you anything. My other blanket, of course, is the crochet blanket that I'm working on. It's got no further. I've stopped making squares because I'm stalled on it completely. It requires brain space I just don't have for crochet at the moment with me doing my crochet work. I will be coming back to it. It is not gone forever. The slipper, the rainbow slippers that I showed you, this is the one that I've knit for myself, crocheted for myself, sorry. It's done exactly the same way as it was in that tutorial, but I'm just using different yarn. This is not the one I showed originally. If you've been watching this podcast before, I did take that one out. It is in bits in this bag. Unravelling mohair in crochet is fun. Yeah, so I crocheted it up again in a smaller size because that one was a bit too big. This one fits me perfectly. And at some point, even though I didn't write down the sizes, I will make another one to match it. So that is in there. The other thing that's in there is a bit of a found project. I crocheted these squares ages ago. They are beautiful. This is the Willow block square. I think it was from a book of crochet squares. I don't have that book anymore. I have quite a lot of them. I originally knit them for like a poncho I think I was planning on making. Don't know why, I wouldn't wear a poncho now. But yeah, they're in this lovely tones of colours that I got from, I bought these, they are the Drops yarn again, but I bought them all at Yarndale probably about 5 or 6 years ago. All these colours are still available. And my intent, like I said, my intention was to make a poncho, but I have all these squares left over. 2 don't have rounds round. I don't have the pattern anymore. Like I say, I think it's called the Willow pattern, and I think I will be able to find it on YouTube, or I could just get that book again. I don't know what crochet hook I used, so that will take some experiment. I do have more of the yarn, so I don't have enough to make like a cushion. I probably would have to make a few more to make a cushion. But do you have any suggestions to what I could do with these without having to make anything more? I mean, there's not enough really for a scarf. I could maybe put them together to make a cowl, but I don't really wear not tight-fitting cowls very often. Although I am hoping to get out on the bike a bit more, so maybe I will wear cowls more. So I have, if it helps, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I have 12 squares, and those squares are 13 centimetres square. So yeah, get your thinking hats on and leave me a comment of what you think I should do with these squares. I am prepared to put in a bit of extra work and make more, and especially finish these 2. I'm prepared to work out what crochet hook I used. I don't think I'm prepared to make as many as I would need to make a blanket. But who knows? Maybe if you bully me, I'll make a blanket. Okay. That is it. That is works in progress done. So now I just have this pile of beautiful yarn to talk to you about, because, I mean, we are in lockdown in the UK. I am not on furlough. I am currently unemployed. I'm technically not. I'll be going back, as soon as the shops are open, I'll be going back to work. It's just while this lockdown is going on, I was like laid off, I think the expression is, rather than going on to furlough, because I was only temporary staff. It's a big hoo-ha. But because I've been doing crochet work, it's been fine. So yeah, there was a virtual yarn show. Although, thinking about it, only one of these purchases is from the virtual yarn show. The Yorkshire Yarn Fest has gone online during the past year and everything. This encompasses everything, this hand movement. I don't really pay too much attention to it unless it has a dyer I particularly want to get something from. But I was feeling the need for a little bit of yarny involvement, and that's the thing. Yeah. So the particular weekend of this virtual yarn festival, I was just like joining in for some of the Instagram lives, watching those. There was a dyer that I particularly wanted to see, which was Sunshine Stewart of My Mama Knits. You may have heard me mention her before. She has a lot of yarn that I really like. I'm actually designing a pattern in one of her yarns at the moment, which is my zombie socks. And yeah, so I really wanted to see her, because I wanted some yarn by her. But I think just because all those yarny fumes coming through Instagram, there was some other purchases made that weekend. Those people weren't particularly at Yorkshire Yarn Fest, and one of these was not purchased that weekend. It was purchased before, but it's been a while since I showed you. But again, it is from Lizwardcrafts, and it is this beautiful neon collection of minis. These are 10-gram minis. I just really enjoy these sets that Siobhan does. I think I've had quite a few by now. This is her unicorn minis. These will be mainly going into my blankets. But yeah, isn't that just lovely? So yeah, so I got that. I did get another set which I haven't brought up because it's already been wound to go into the blanket. I got her mermaid ones. And at the same time as getting the mermaid ones, I picked up a skein of jelly tots, which is grey. It is a sock yarn, it's 4-ply fingering weight, and it's 75/25, but it is grey with spots of all the neon. Want you to see all the spots of neon? And Katie, who I follow on Instagram, was knitting something in this. She knits a lot in Lizwardcrafts, and she also has a Bengal. Hi, Obi. And yeah, so she was knitting something in this yarn, and I was like, that is the yarn I've been looking for. What is it? And she thankfully told me, and Siobhan was having an update that weekend, so I picked up this at the same time as picking up those mermaid mini skeins. It's probably going to be socks, but I'm just happy to have it right now, because I've been looking for a yarn like this for ages, with many ideas for what I want to do with it in mind. I'm just happy I now have it. Keep those three. I don't want to say we'll save the best till last, but... So yes, Sunshine is the dyer behind My Mama Knits. I've had yarn from her before, I've had mini packs before. And yeah, I think the first time I got yarn from her, it was through a mini pack, and I got one mini of her Not So Fresh Zombie colour, which I just love that colourway. So I've since bought a full skein of that, and that's the one that I'm making a design in. So I decided to get another pack of her 10-gram minis, and in that is the same blue that's in a pair of socks. Hang on, if I can find it. If I can find it. Yeah, it's that blue. It's that. Do you remember this from the Whispers in the Walls in this beautiful Ducky Darlings yarn? And I used that colour as that contrast, and I ran out, and I did the second one in this lovely peach. I've now got another mini of it. So the question is, do I knit another sock that matches, and then on the days I'm feeling I've got another one to contrast, so I can have like a pair of 3 socks? I've definitely got enough yarn left to do it of this colour. What do you think? Should I? Or do you think this one will just get neglected? I don't ever want to neglect this sock, and I don't have enough to knit another pair. I'm not pulling this out because I also got a pack of 5-gram minis from My Mama Knits because I couldn't resist them, and these will go into my mitered square blanket. They are really pretty. And I got her the colourway that she brought out especially for the Yorkshire Yarn Fest. It's called Spring Nest. It's just stunning. It's one of those ones that looks so beautiful in this skein. I'm not 100% sure I'll ever be able to knit it. It is based on a blackbird's nest. It's a very common blackbird, and if you know me and blackbirds and ravens and crows and stuff like that, I'm sorry if you can hear noise outside. The workmen are definitely doing something now. Yeah, blackbirds are very common birds. I absolutely love them when I get them in the garden, but their eggs are the most beautiful blue colour. And yeah, she's designed this yarn based on their nests, so you get the sea greeny blue of their eggs and then the sort of twiggy colours. And yeah, it's just absolutely beautiful. And the details. Wobbling. Yeah, so don't know what I'm going to do with this, but I'm definitely just going to love it for a while. Yeah, I thought that was all my yarny purchases until Hayley, hi Hayley, Hayley from Ducky Darlings put a post up on Instagram of this table full of yarn, and it was all in black and white, and she'd like dug out yarn that she'd dyed, and was bundling it together in sets of 3, sort of mystery sets, and she put it in her shop at a really good price. And I think I resisted most of the day, and then I was just in my head I had it that I was using my Ducky Darlings yarn, so therefore I was allowed to replace it. And technically that is true. I was knitting on a project I haven't shown you today that uses Ducky Darlings yarn, and I also am planning to use a Ducky Darlings yarn for my next Rainbow Chronicle socks in April. That does not mean that my stash of it has gone down any, because one was a whip that was already in progress and the other hasn't even been cast on yet, but in my head I needed to replenish stocks. Yeah. So anyway, I bought one of these mystery packs, and I just knew whatever I got I was going to love, and I do. It's like I'm going to start with my least favourite, and by saying least favourite I still absolutely love it. Yeah, it's this oceanic colourway. It is gorgeous. And yeah, it'll probably be socks. I love it. But of the 3, it's like, I'm not going to give pecking order to my yarn. Why am I trying to justify this? This is just the order that I'm going to show you. And the one that I'm going to show you last is the most interesting. This one, it's greens and oranges, and it's just beautiful. This is called Strobe. It looks like it's got like some neon greens in there. I don't know if it's actual sort of neon or whether it's just like a chartreusey colour. It is just gorgeous. I have no plans for what I'm going to knit with this, but yeah. But the final one, I do have plans with what I'm going to knit with this. I have never seen this base when I've seen Hayley at shows. I don't know if it's a new one she's dyeing or she's just trying it out. It is a superwash merino velvet cotton base, and it is a 4-ply yarn, but it looks really plump. I don't know if if this is going to come across on screen. This looks, just leans into all the yarn. This looks really rustic because it's got like it's a 2-ply. And it's quite a loose twist, and it looks really rustic, but it doesn't feel rustic. It feels gorgeous. And I opened this yarn, and my first thought was like, I just need to get in touch with Hayley and see if she's got more of this, which is not the right response to have when you're trying to be sensible about buying yarn. Because my first thought was like, oh, this would be great for a sweater. And it would, but I'm not going to go that far. What I am going to do is knit a hat out of this, and I'm going to cast it on probably today. And I'm going to cast on a fingering weight cabled hat in this. And at the moment I'm umming and ahhing as to whether to hold it double with mohair. I'm not 100% sure it needs it, because it's got a bit of floof, a bit of a halo to it itself. It's absolutely beautiful. The colour is sepia, which I'm fairly sure is a colourway I've seen from Hayley before. But yeah. So this is going to be cast on. If you do have 4-ply cable hat suggestions, please do leave them. We do now have a Ravelry group as well. It is a bit quiet over there because I have just not had any spare time. I've had mad cats and mad crochet work for 2 weeks. But yeah, please do join in. Chat amongst yourselves. I'll be there when I can. So you can leave pattern suggestions over in the Ravelry group as well. I have set up a thread for chatter and pattern suggestions. Yeah, so do suggest patterns. But yeah, I'm definitely going to wind this while I'm editing later today. And then hopefully cast it on. So yeah, I just think it's going to be a really nice hat. And I think that's everything. It's about Haribo. I was going to have a natter, but I think I've covered everything as I've been going through. Anyone else just love the smell of Haribo? I won't eat those on screen. Yeah, what else do I have to tell you? Yeah, so coming up, there'll be a studio vlog later this week as well. So hopefully 2 videos this week, and then I should be caught up. And another tutorial coming at the end of the month. It's my birthday this month, so I mean, I really should treat myself to some more yarn. Or plants, maybe plants. I'm really liking having lots of plants at the moment. So yeah, I don't think there's an awful lot to tell you. Puka's fine. She's had her operation. Can you see her scar there? She won't. Her fur's just starting to grow back. Come here, darling. Come on. Oh dear. Yeah, she's fine. She's annoying Cal as usual. Cal hasn't really made much of an appearance. Lockdown continues. I think it will continue for me for another month. I think kids are back at school today. It's the second week in March. I think, what is it, the 8th today? Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. You alright, love? Come back. Come back. Don't eat my Haribo. Yeah, so comment with ideas whether I should knit another of these socks and have like a 3 of a kind pair. What I should do with these. Again, if you have any brioche patterns that you feel like I really need to have a go of, always love to hear brioche patterns. You can put those in the Ravelry group as well if you want to join. And fingering weight cable hats. Happy to hold it with some mohair. I do have some mohair to go with this if you have a DK pattern or even an Aran one. But yeah, I really would like a kind of intricate fingering weight 4-ply hat pattern for that. So yeah, and yeah, if you don't have anything that you want to add those in comments. Just say hi. It's always nice to hear from you. I try and reply to as many as I can. If I can't, I always leave a little heart. Yeah. So any information, if I haven't put it on screen, it will be in the info box down below. Yeah, I do try and write as intensive show notes as I can and link to everything. But yeah, thank you very much for joining me.